no skill set how to make $1 million in a year for scratch with no investment, no risk. And they called me. They decided to monetize it by doing a $5,000 seminar, and they were going to take the transcript and turn it into a book.
You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
Jay, are you on with us?
Here I am.
I love it. Well, so Jay is one of the people who I first discovered in way back when he and Tony Robbins sent out a book that was extravagant price of $500, which turned out to be one of the least expensive books I ever bought based on all the good
thank you.
So we just wanted to kind of be on here and give back to you guys and do some hot seats. And I want to start with Jay. You've been through, I think you said 4 tough economic cycles, and that's really what we're looking at here. It's kind of a compressed introduction to what may not be a long thing, but would you kind of share some of the strategies that you've seen be most effective? And then we'll go into the hot seats from there. I just kind of want to preface it with what works.
Well, the first thing, Roland, I have been through. I've been everything from S&L, obviously the 208, the oil crisis, everything. So this is unprecedented. But first thing I always do with a business is get them to fortify and solidify their relationship, bond it with the people that have been buying from them, first of all, and convey certainty in uncertain times that they basically are going to be there and they're going to have support, they're going to have answers, they're going to be sort of a bastion of like a guiding light. What we've done with many, many different companies is start by saying, okay, if what you're selling is still sellable, then let's basically figure out how to expand our market in a bad time. What we've done is oftentimes go to weaker competitors who really are freaking out, and ours were always strategic, proactive. I always talk about crisis preparedness versus opportunity preparedness, Roland. So I always try to say, okay, where's the opportunity in an adverse situation? What we have done, as an example, I go back in time, but we had a gold client that was very large, and the gold market collapsed in the late 70s, and nobody was buying gold. But we had 500,000 loyal clients, but they didn't want to buy gold anymore. So the first thing we did was solidify our base. The next thing we did was figure out what they were buying. The third thing we did was connect with everybody who had what they were buying and arrange to partner with them. And we sold that to them and we made millions of dollars. But it's about figuring out, first of all, what people are buying, whether it's necessity, whether it's optional. Also figuring out whatever you sell, whatever else they would buy or have bought before, during, after, instead, and getting control of those kind of products or services. And I always can be a little bit ADD and abstract, so I always commend you to keep me grounded. Is this too abstract, Roland?
No, this is perfect. You're doing great.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've acquired not businesses, but assets of businesses in adverse times. Many, many weaker businesses that are reactive freeze.
Yep.
And when they freeze, everything comes to a tumultuous halt. And without any guidance, those other companies, not our clients, but the other ones, are going to go broke. What we've done is connected with those companies, offer to take over their assets, usually their buyers, sometimes their relationships, distribution, advertising relationships, key people, consolidate it because we could duplicate effort, and we would make more profit for them by giving them a share than they would make themselves. We would even help them get out of their overhead, get out of their leases. Yep. Again, anything that would, and we would basically, and this is in a different environment, but a lot of companies, the owner took it from nothing to where it is. He or she was the salesperson. They got it to a point. Then they became a manager. Yeah. Then they stopped selling. Yeah. If you relieve them of that, when the opportunity arises, they are able to go back in the market and sell. We've paid people 25% of the consolidated profit we got from incorporating their buyers into our businesses, taking over 3 or 4 asset plays from other weaker companies, we would grow massively, but we would keep a lot of really impaired and on the verge of going out of business entrepreneurs viable. So we were actually doing a noble service to them, and then we'd have them go out and grow business for us and pay them a royalty. And I hope that isn't too abstract.
No, I think it's fantastic. So I love those strategies, and I'm a big fan of them, obviously. I'd like to do a couple things to manage this. Deanna, would you do me a favor? And let's give people no more than 60 seconds to articulate who they are and what the big challenge is. And then we'll do 4 minutes of brainstorming after
Great.
that. And Jay and I are capable of tripping over each other as we answer those things.
Fun.
And then Matt, would you be so kind as to supply the people so that you can call them out and unmute them?
So I'm going to start with Jonathan Harris. And Jonathan, you can go ahead if you want to ask your question. I see you're unmuted there.
Jay and Roland, thanks for putting this together. My question is, we have a flat fee for service real estate company, and I wanted to know, how can we create the greatest amount of distance between us and our competitors in the shortest period of time in light of this crisis? We had planned an external launch in May. It's go time. We feel like our competitors are asleep and our clients are hunkered down at home watching the news. How could we maximize this launch on May the 1st?
All right, Jay.
So real quickly, Jonathan, in 1 minute or less, what was the launch going to look like?
We have billboard strategies, radio. We have magazine articles, email launch, landing pages, Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO.
Okay. So one of the things that I have found, and Roland and I were talking privately, in an environment like this, when the majority of business owners are not proactive, are not strategic, are not growth oriented, but are instead constrictive and fear oriented, there is a huge desire for cash flow, for monetization. You need to figure out right now, everybody that has access to the desirable prime market you want to reach, and secure for them partnerships, endorsements, referral deals, and there's tons of ways to do it. I have 150 ways to get referrals. I have 100.
Jay, who would that be? And what would you say are the top of your 155 things that you would recommend that Jonathan do?
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you want, what city are you, Jonathan?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, if you want to own 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 referral sources who have access to hundreds or thousands of prime target audience, go to every entrepreneur out there. And once you learn from somebody, it could be somebody else, Roland, me, anybody you turn to, how to grow or sustain or secure a business in these times, offer every business owner out there that you will give them contribution. You'll give them ideas, you'll give them knowledge, you'll give them guidance, and tell them right now you want to invest in them, because you know if you help them basically keep going and then growing, they are going to be, program them, don't make it implicit, make it explicit. They are going to be more than willing to reciprocate and refer people ongoing to you. And you'll build, I've done this in all kinds of adverse times, you'll build, so many thousands of referral sources that you'll be preemptive in the market. That's probably the easiest, Roland.
Okay, so Jonathan, tell me what is incomplete about that answer for you? What question you?
No, a lot of business owners that I know are all hunkered down. And so I think that's great to be able to go back and offer referral sources. They have access to audiences that I would want. And I believe that if we incite reciprocation and I look to give to their people first or give to them first, that it may come back in like kind. So
Jonathan, that's not what I said. Although that's a good interpretation, Roland, excuse me. What I said was you help them, or what I meant to say, maybe because I'm ADD, it may have not come out of my mouth. You help them solidify their business. It can be referral sources. It can be helping them figure out how to cut overhead. It can help them figure out how to take products or services that used to be rendered in physical form and now have to be rendered and sold in virtual form. You do whatever it takes scenario by scenario or category by category to help every business out there that is ethical and respected, that has a profile of clientele, prospects, patients that would be your clients in the future. And you help them right now stay viable and even position themselves to grow, and then program them to know you're doing it now because they're worth you investing in, and you know that in the future they will be only too happy to reciprocate. It can be anything they need. Is that a little clear?
It is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Jonathan, what's the action step for you? What are you going to do?
I'm a member of EO here in town. There's 225 EO members. And so I'm going to pull out that roster. I'm going to start to reach out to them personally and see how I can add value to their business, look for ways to encourage them during this time, see what their needs are and give first, and start there and make that investment in their businesses.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jay. All right, who we got next, Matt?
All right, we've got Julia up next. So, Julia, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you and go ahead with your question.
I'm Julia Hausman, and we are in Spain. And in Spain, our customers, all the restaurants in Spain are closed, mandatory, because the government are closed or shut down all the restaurants. And we sell product like frozen double for pizza owner in restaurant business. And also we have another branch of our business, which is consulting to help a restaurant to grow their sale using a little your method with 3-step, growing the average ticket, growing the number of customers, etc. And we want to see how we can help our customer now, because they are very scared. We want also help initially for free, and we don't know how in the long term, because it seems that this issue can during 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months, and we don't know how we can switch our business or how we can help and then achieve some kind of earning.
How many clients have you got in Spain?
More or less like 1,000.
How many restaurants are there in Spain?
35,000.
Okay, so you can do 3 things. Number 1, you can help them right now, the 1,000, maximize how they create delivery, or if delivery is illegal there, take out right this moment, show them how to maximize their ability to do that. And then secondly, of the other 34,000, I'm assuming many of them are very reactive and probably constraining, and you can make arrangements where your restaurants take over the clientele of the weaker restaurants and do the same for them. And that would probably solidify your 1,000 clients, and you want to program them to know you're going to move heaven and earth to help those restaurants maybe not be as successful and financially, prosperous as they were, but you're going to keep them alive and going until the marketplace changes, and you're going to show them how to position themselves to grow massively. Roland?
And is it possible for you to deliver there, for the restaurants to deliver?
We can help them to organize like a platform in order to deliver to make a delivery service to the client, because now it's very scary here in Spain, and Italy is dramatic, and only few companies can deliver something, because any people can contage. Okay.
I mean, leadership and strategic guidance in adversity is how you grow and you own markets, and you really control and expand. If you've got a strategy and you know who's can deliver, and you know who has the system and the economics and the sanitation, and that both is approved by the government and also will be embraced by the consumer, you can basically give your 1,000 people the plan. And you can even give the other 34,000, you can give some of them a plan if you know that they are appropriate. You can grow market, but giving them a strategy, leading them. If you have access to people who have the ability to do it and they have the delivery vehicles and the people, you can add that to it. I mean, obviously, if everybody is home ridden, they have to eat. And if they're not all going to the grocery, and there's a way they can feel comfortable and safe ordering from a restaurant, whether they go to it or they get it delivered, there's got to be opportunity there.
Yeah. The other way too would be in terms of supplies. If supplies are short and hard to come by as they are here, I drove by the grocery store this morning and people were waiting outside in line and they were letting them in like every 10 minutes. And so for those who would like to have access to premium products like the restaurants serve, yes, without the waiting in line, you could also deliver the supplies as opposed to delivering cooked meals. You could also deliver the supplies and then show them how to cook with you online. So they could basically have a Zoom call where the chef gets on and says, okay, everybody, tonight we're cooking fettuccine Alfredo or whatever we're doing tapas. And so everybody that would like to do tapas on Tuesday with us, we'll send this stuff to your house or go get these ingredients or whatever you want to do. And then we'll show you how to put them together and we'll cook with you. That would be another thing that you could do.
You probably have amongst the thousands some of the best restaurants in Spain, don't you?
Yeah.
You organize you can do what Roland said. You can have great cooking lessons online. You can have all kinds of things that endear all these restaurants. You can print, you can put online recipes. And he's right. By the way, Roland, just a piece of minutia. My son, Jordan, who I was telling you about, he was at our beach house and we wanted eggs and he couldn't find them. Many of the small little ethnic groceries have plenty of eggs and milk. He went there and got 50 eggs for us and cartons of milk. And he said they were just packed because nobody was going there.
Yeah, high end also. If you go high end, there's plenty of stuff everywhere. But I think I hope that helps you. Does that give you a couple of things to think about that might be good for you?
Thank you. Very, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then also reach out to restaurant supply companies and wholesalers and others who are feeding the restaurants and ask them to refer you the restaurants that would like free consultations and help as to what to do. And then do strategy calls with people who aren't yet clients so that you endear yourself to them. I think those would all be things to think about. Thank you so much. Deanna, so Matt, who do we have?
Yeah, so we've got James Jacoby next. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, James, and let you take it away.
Hey, James.
Hey, Roland, thanks for doing this. Jay, I'm a huge fan of yours, so thanks for doing this. I run a global advisory company, and we focus on entrepreneurs that are in launch mode, starting their coaching, consulting, advisory practice. And that's been going really well. We're in our second full year. We're at just about $400K in revenue. But a lot of our programs are higher end, and the market has pushed the market to be smaller and contract. So my question for you is, what I'm doing is I'm doing frictionless marketing. I just got off a webinar an hour ago at the local chamber. 40 people attended, 10 opted in to want to book a strategy call with me. They love my content. And so things like that are working really well. And I can double down on that. I'm just wondering, should I focus on that and serving my entrepreneur community? Or I also do corporate training, and that's higher ticket engagements, but it's just a different shift of focus. And I'm wondering about shift of focus.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure of exactly what the specific value proposition is you're giving to the entrepreneur. So why don't you share that real quick?
We help them put together their sales and marketing for their products and services, and we help them design their program and mentor them as they go through that.
Okay, and so right now, how have you been reaching all of them?
Mostly through online, through frictionless marketing with pop-up webinars, free videos, and building engagement.
And that's been working and monetizing well?
It's converting into good lead gen. I'd like it to be better.
And so what are you charging them?
15 for 6.
Okay. And do they pay it single, monthly? Doesn't matter?
Monthly, $2,500 a month.
All right. And so right now, have you been closing people in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
I've had one close at that rate.
And these are almost all startups?
Startups or mid to low 6-figure companies.
Okay. And are you able right now to give them great advice to help them navigate this situation?
Yes.
Okay. So, my best advice to everybody, and Roland and I talk privately, there's so many people who have access to the markets you would want for strategic alliances, joint ventures, because people have access to audiences, markets, members, subscribers, advertisers, readers, whatever they are, any affinity group. And in normal times, they're sort of possessive or arrogant, but when they're frozen and cash isn't flowing, they're much more receptive to doing deals. And if you've got a high profit service proposition and you can pay a reason, if it's got many months or very many years of monetization, and you can pay out a generous amount as received and never pay out more than 50%, so you're always in the money, you can go to people that never would have given you time of day. And today, as long as you know how to articulate it, and I'm sorry I don't have time on this, and I'll pass it to Roland, you can own access to markets, affinity, like you can't believe, Roland.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that the thing that I always, when I'm doing onboards with War Room, our mastermind people, is that I say, give me 3 resources that already have a relationship with a large group of your ideal customer profile. And then those are the places to go, because you get the most leverage by going there. So if you were going to say, who already has, because you're doing coaching, and a lot of people sell products that serve your market that don't do coaching.
Yes.
So who do you think you would most likely be able to strike a relationship who's already aggregated the largest numbers of your ideal customer profile but doesn't offer coaching?
Great.
Great, thank you.
Can I get an exemption and tell a quick, I'll tell the story in 3 minutes.
You got to talk to Deanna, Jay. She's the one controlling that. But yeah.
Can I get a hall pass? Yes.
Let's do it.
So this is building on what you said, and it's a funny story, but it's a true story, and it's probably more relevant today. So many years ago, a guy named Robert Allen, who you know, Roland, he was big. I don't know if he's even around anymore in real estate. And Mark Victor Hansen, who did part of the Chicken Soup for the Soul team. They had this cockamamie idea of something called cracking the millionaire code. And the concept was real simple. They were going to teach people with no product, no money, no skill set how to make $1 million in a year for scratch with no investment, no risk. And they called me. They decided to monetize it by doing a $5,000 seminar, and they were going to take the transcript and turn it into a book. Got a $500,000 advance from Random House, so they were pretty smart. And then they had me do the keynote concept. And all I did was tell everybody, all you do is look for what I'll call marketing or a business arbitrage. You find people that have a book but don't have a seminar in this marketplace, in this environment, be a virtual seminar. Somebody has coaching but doesn't have a seminar or a book. And you connect them. You don't have to recreate the wheel, and you take a big piece, you insinuate your bad self in the toll position. I taught that to 300 people at this seminar, and 299 didn't believe it was doable. One woman did, and she made $1.2 million in 6 months. That's the story.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. Okay. I think that's, and James, do you know the 3 groups that you might approach right away?
Well, it's funny you just said that, because I started to do that about 3 weeks ago. I have 2 meetings with big companies that do that.
Fantastic. Good.
Don't be afraid of going to smaller ones, because oftentimes they have stronger relationships than the big ones.
And they can move faster.
So yeah, and they don't need corporate decisions and bureaucracy.
It's a numbers game, though. Hit as many numbers as you can.